What up, watch peeps? Traska is one of my favorite micro brands. They only have a couple offerings, but the style and design of both really appeal to me. The build quality and finishing leave very little to be desired, crazy impressive at the price. Now, the logo they've chosen for their brand is the Gordian knot, which symbolizes a complex problem with a very simple solution. Their thinking is that this very much applies to the watch industry. I love that. So this is a brand that speaks to me on many levels. Their thinking, their designs, and quite frankly, the end product. Now, I've owned both the Traska Freediver and the Summiteer, their field watch, which I've also done a video on. Go watch it. But the Freediver we're looking at today is in on loan from my boy Kevin at Wrong Time Watch. Please go peep out his channel. If you're enjoying my channel, subscribing is a huge help and greatly appreciated. All right, let's do it. I'm Pete, and we are chilling with watches. Alright, first things first, wrist check. Today I'm just wearing my Seiko SKX 007. Some days you just gotta wear a basic bro diver. And there's not many better choices for just a basic black dial diver than the 007. Love that watch. But today we're looking at the Traska Freediver. It comes in a basic outer cardboard box with an inner cardboard box. But what's inside there is one of my favorite add-ons. I love when they give you a watch carrier, and this is one of the best ones. You got the logo on the leather, and this is just a single carrier. You know, when I travel light watch-wise, usually the one on my wrist and maybe one other. And this case is perfect for that. So what they give you is, you get this inside piece that the watch goes around. That keeps the bracelet from banging around, scratching up the case back. And then you slide the whole mess in here. And really that is as much protection as you'll need. But let's take a look at that watch. This dial color is one of my favorites in all of watchdom. That seafoam green is just fantastic. Now these watches, they go for $400. And they come in a gray dial and a black dial variant, but they are all sold out. And if you want one of these, you got to jump on it quick when they become available because they sell out really fast. They come with both a stainless steel bezel insert or a loomed ceramic bezel insert. Now you see the dial, this is the Gen 2 model, and the dial slightly changed as the indices. They've thickened them up a little bit, and I think they look fantastic. They've also slightly changed the handset, and it is just so coherent with the indices. I love the design and look of both. Really speaks to me. I don't know if you can also see there's a really nice bevel on the date window. The case profile, it is a flat-sided style case where you can see with rather abrupt transitions from the central part of the case head to the lugs, but I really like the way it looks. It does have drilled lugs, and the brushing is really nice. It's very consistent from the case to the bezel insert to the bracelet. Let's take a look at the case back. It is a snorkeler with one of those slingshots. I forget what you call that, a Brazilian slingshot or something, along with standard information around the outer edge. It does have a sapphire crystal and 20 atmospheres of water resistance, which is 200 meters. Like I said, the bezel on this model is the stainless steel, and it has really nice action. All the colorways are also available with the ceramic insert. There's only the slightest back movement when you first settle into a position, but once it's there, then it doesn't move at all. No movement horizontally or vertically. And on the stainless steel version, the only lume you get on the bezel is the pip. The bracelet is really nice, standard oyster bracelet. And if you'll see, these are solid end links. And I love that. See this polished chamfer on the inside of the lug, where the lug steps down to the end link. it's all very smooth and nice to feel, and it looks good to me too. The brushing on the lugs, let's see if I can show you that, is angled. Would be consistent with the circular brushing on the bezel insert. But then the brushing on the end links is vertical. I don't hate this because it's at least consistent with the stainless steel bezel insert brushing. But if you had the ceramic model, that might look a little disjointed. Not a big deal. Not a showstopper for me, but something to be aware of. The bracelet, these are 20 millimeter lugs, I believe. And it tapers down 2 millimeters to 18. The clasp is one of my favorite in the biz. I mean, the perlage finishing, while unnecessary is still super cool. But I love this clasp. It has both the logo and their name on it, and it's just done very tastefully. It looks classy. And the brushing is fantastic. Now, this watch has been around and reviewed. You don't see a single mark on this, right? That is because they use a proprietary scratch-resistant coating that is the real deal. Teddy Baldassar has taken a strap change tool and really scratched at the links, and you couldn't see anything. It really didn't make a difference. So this is the real deal, this scratch-resistant coating. I've owned a couple of these and have never put a mark on them. The clasp also has a slew of micro adjust holes. So this seems to be like a standard clasp type that has been adopted by the micro brands, and I'm totally cool with it. I like the new smaller clasps that don't have the safety fold over as well. But for a dive watch, this is appropriate and perfectly fine. The crown is a nice coin edge with the logo signed. Let's take a look at the size of the crown. 6.7 millimeter crown, so just about a 7 millimeter crown with that coin edge. Very easy to grip. No crown guards. You can feel the release when it lets go of the threads. Pretty standard. It's a Seiko NH35 movement, so pretty standard NH35 winding feel. I don't know if you can hear that, but it stops super readily in both time and date setting positions. Hands turn very smoothly. I know we're in PM, so we're safe. Date flips very easily. Back to winding. I always do a slight back turn. You hear that drop into the threads, and you get a solid 3 turns on the threads to get that crown back down. Now the case size on these, let's see what we got. 40 millimeter case. That is 13 and I'm getting 13 and a half, about 13 and a half millimeters thick. It's a slightly domed crystal. I don't know if you can see it with the bezel insert, which is my favorite. I do like a flat crystal as well, but these very slightly domed, I don't like top hats. They just look weird. It makes your watch look like a wedding cake. It steps from here to here to here. But I really like the way this slight dome looks. Very cool. So some of my favorite things about this watch, I mentioned before, the indices and the hands. I think they look great. Really love the clasp. This particular one has a little bit of play in the safety fold over, which I don't remember that being in any other models I had, so maybe it's just loosened up. The dial color, they really killed it with this. It's so much fun. One of the best summer watches out there. The bevel around the date window just reminds me of some old vintage Seikos. It looks great. The chamfers inside the lugs. And the scratch-resistant coating, of course. Some of the things I don't love. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but obviously see I'm not quite aligned there. But if I go in one more click, the alignment is not perfect. It's not bad, but it's not perfect. And like I said, that safety fold over is a little loose, but that is it. I'm really grasping for straws to find anything to complain about with this watch. So let's take a look at it on my 7 1/4 inch wrist. There it is. It's a wonderful fit at 40 millimeters. I mean, that's the size that fits the broadest range of wrist sizes. It's not going to look too small on very many people, and it's not going to look too large on very many people. So I said it's a straight-sided design, so it does sit pretty much on top of your wrist, but there's a good enough turn down in the lugs and not too much belly. So it does lay rather nice, and the bracelet with those female end links will contour to your wrist very well. And here it is on the Timegrapher. You can see running at about +4. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that. That is almost Rolex spec. 270 amplitude, which is perfectly healthy for a Seiko. 0.5 BDR, maybe a little higher than you'd want to see, but I'm not concerned. Actually, it looks like it's settling into +1 or +2. So this watch is running fantastically. And with the bracelet size for my 7¼ inch wrist, the weight is coming in at 163 grams. So take a look side by side some other watches. Here it is with the SKX, which is 42 millimeters versus the Traska's 40. Not a huge disparity. The Traska has that same dial color as the chapter ring, which kind of creates a large spot in the middle that's the same, and that almost might give it a little bit of a larger look as opposed to the small dial used by Seiko. Side by side, another 40 millimeter watch that has recently been released, the Zelo Swordfish. Very comparable wear in my opinion. The bezel to dial ratio. Maybe the dial's still a little larger on that Traska, but that could be the chapter ring, I'm not sure. But they both use the same movement. I think the Swordfish has the slightly slimmer profile. That Glycine Combat sub. Now this is a 42 millimeter watch where you can tell that it's bigger, right? The bezel is larger and thicker. The dial's similarly, if not larger than the Traska, but it has no chapter ring, right? You just have the rehaut in there, so it gives that larger appearance. The Glycine's a very thin watch, but size-wise slightly larger than the Traska. And just one other watch I happen to have here is the Islander Samurai ISL 26. Not really a fair comparison in any way, but it was sitting here, so what the heck. Okay, let's
Peep the Lume.
And there she is, a very nice application of BGW9. BGW9 is not quite as bright as C3, so you've got to put it on thicker. It's very evenly applied between the dial and handset here. Great job. All right, let's flip the camera back around and wrap this thing up. So there it is, guys, the Traska Freediver. I mean, look at that pop of color. Come on. Is there a better summer watch? Actually, let me know in the comments, what's your favorite summer watch? Before I let you go, sneaker check. Wearing my black on black Jordan 1s. All right, that's it. I'm out. If it's not too much trouble, like, subscribe, and come back next time. Peace.